Oh, I found it. I've talked before about USA Network shows, primarily Psych, Burn Notice, and White Collar.
I think he's really matured.
Each have grown to have a dedicated following due to the great characters, memorable moments, and well thought out procedural design. Despite all this recognition, we have to take it back to where it all started: Monk. The 2002 police procedural dramedy ran 8 seasons spanning 125 episodes. It was nominated for 18 Emmys and won 8 of them. It was a landmark series for the network that would usher in the era of complicated good guys just trying to do the right thing.
I'm never going to see my family again. My son. I'm sorry.
Monk follows the adventures of former San Francisco Police Department detective Adrian Monk. Monk is a brilliant detective with multiple disorders and phobias that hinder his ability to function not only as a police officer, but as a person.
Mr. Monk, that wasn't a phone booth.
No, that wasn't. Ellie, it was kind of horrible. Plastic outhouse.
These fears and phobias would be heightened by the death of his wife, Trudy, leading Monk to a severe nervous breakdown. Monk would take place years after his breakdown, as Monk not only solves crimes for the department, but also investigates who is behind his wife's murder. At the forefront of Monk is of course the man who plays him, Tony Shalhoub.
Her name was Trudy. She died. She was murdered. It was a car bomb.
While I do find quality work in the actors and actresses that have played in other USA Network shows like Psych, Burn Notice, and White Collar, Shalhoub is in a class of his own.
You okay?
Monk is a complicated character.
I'm gonna ask Hal if he'll be my best friend.
Oh. You know, I've never heard it put quite that way.
Not just in the fact that he is emotionally burdened throughout the series with his wife's death, but the balancing act of his fears and phobias. Creator Andy Breckman and his team of writers, including Shalhoub himself, created a truly dynamic and fascinating character in Adrian Monk.
Pick up the ball, homie. Are you dissing me?
No, I'm not dissing you. I'm giving you your props.
They had just found her body over by the boat pond in Central Park.
You're not laughing now, are you? Are you?
No.
Monk's fears and phobias can come off as an annoyance, especially so for those characters around him, but never so with us, the audience. The writing, as previously mentioned, balances these annoyances into not only being funny, but being rather tragic.
Wipe.
Monk is a man trapped in a heightened traumatic state, using everything around him as a means of control after losing his wife.
Julie says you're afraid of milk.
Well, everybody's afraid of something, right?
Julie said you're afraid of everything.
This is 2002 after all, and the show isn't exactly delicate with Monk's emotional imbalance, like shows, events, or people are now, which is fascinating on a 2019 rewatch. Still, Monk is a masterclass in acting thanks in part to the consistent, grounded, and rich portrayal by Tony Shalhoub. Shalhoub has to not only make Monk emotionally relatable, but also a man you root for beyond all of his cumbersome quirks. Sometimes, even for viewers, it feels like a lot.
Maybe I am. Do you want to try a different phone?
No, I'm good.
However, the attention to detail, such as constantly touching lamps,
I'm touching the standing lamp.
the adjustment in his shoulders, or the use of his hands to frame a scene are nice touches by Shalhoub that add an authenticity. Shalhoub's performance, dare I say, is the best the network has ever seen.
We've got nature on the run. Finally. Look at that. Look. It's the perfect sandwich.
Mr. Monk.
Perfect. There's no overlap.
Perhaps with the exception of Rami Malek, who would also win an Emmy for Mr. Robot.
That's the part you were wrong about, Rawhead. I don't give a shit about money.
Again, Shalhoub carries Monk with a weight that feels real. You feel as if you're watching a man tied to an anchor and drowning in his own misery. A scene in particular is when Monk meets the man semi-responsible for his wife's death.
Mr. Tennyson, we're here from San Francisco to talk to you about Trudy Monk. Do you remember her?
Car bomb.
The man created the bomb used in Trudy's death. The man is slowly dying and living his last days attached to morphine to ease through the horrific pain.
He's on morphine, so there's no pain.
That's too bad.
Monk has a private moment with him, turning off the man's morphine.
Forgive you. This is me. Turning off your morphine.
In the moment, he realizes this isn't what Trudy would want and turns it back on.
And this is Trudy. The woman you killed. Turning it back on.
The scene in particular stood out as Tony Shalhoub is so subtle and yet feels so real.
You were the husband. I am the husband.
It's also a bit of a reminder that Trudy, despite a handful of flashback scenes, isn't really a character on the show. Shalhoub, thanks to his layered portrayal, really creates two characters that you fall in love with. Monk is a special show for the USA Network. In a lot of ways, I see it as the father of the shows I hold near and dear, like Psych or Burn Notice. While I do believe Tony Shalhoub's portrayal of Monk is the best out of all these shows, I might rank Monk near the bottom. While the character portrayals are great, with lots of special, heartwarming character moments, some of the plot lines are especially, well, goofy and quite ridiculous.
Darwin was to grab for the gun and there was a struggle.
It also wouldn't be fair to the supporting cast, like Traylor Howard, Ted Levine, and Jason Gray Stanford, who do an excellent job of rounding out this amazing cast. So, Monk has sometimes clever, sometimes ridiculous police procedural plot lines. It can be hilarious, and it can be downright sad. While I don't think it is the best USA Network show, it's driven by one of the best actor performances on television by Tony Shalhoub.
Adrian Monk is going to the movies?
Why are you crying? Is that so strange?
It's not strange at all. That's why I'm crying.
As usual, it receives my recommendation. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. As usual, be sure to let me know in the comments what you want to see on Lost and Found. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for my latest content. See you, tots!